All right, we're back, and it is going to be a wonderful weekend at the Stationery Factory. We have Burdick. He is here in regard to the Berkshire Wedding Expo, and this is your baby, man. This is like, you built this thing from basically nothing, right? Years ago.
Oh, okay. So I started Tux Express February 13th, 1993, out of my car with a catalog and a pager.
Okay.
And then I quickly learned over a couple of years that if I was going to stay working doing stuff within my business, then I needed to find an income in the winter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there were really only one wedding show in the county at that point in time. And so I created the Northern Berkshire Wedding Fair in 1996 at the Holiday Inn. And I started off with like 20 vendors.
Yeah.
17 brides. Nothing too extreme. But I learned really fast.
It's still quite a project.
Yeah, I learned really fast what to do and what not to do. And I learned that I could charge a booth fee, couple all of the vendors' money, and promote it, and couple my tuxedo business with that, so that way we could all make money together.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, because if you have this sort of critical mass of all of the businesses working together, then more business rises all boats, or something along those lines, as we say, and that's a really good thing to have everyone in that, and everyone gets a piece of the pie.
Yes, and I didn't realize that when doing the Northern Berkshire Wedding Fair, that it was going to evolve into doing a Central Berkshire Wedding Fair, and then it was going to evolve into doing a Southern Berkshire Wedding Fair. So I had 3 of them going October, November, December. And then over the course of, say probably about almost 10 years with doing that, the idea was to create a website called BerkshireBride.com. And I spent some time with trying to figure out how we were going to do that, because I had no idea back in 2000 when it launched. Before really online started to boom and stuff, of what it would be capable of doing. And so that was back when websites were a lot of money to create. It cost literally $10,000 to build BerkshireBride.com.
Oh, man.
And so I didn't have $10,000 of money. And I went to a local bank and presented the idea to the vice president of lending, and I got laughed at because it was a website and it wasn't a tangible asset.
Yeah,
and it was something that it couldn't do. And so I left there mad, embarrassed, crying.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where you and I talked about of getting skin.
Yeah.
And it actually helped with the creative part of business for me, where I went home that night and sat down, and I had Jimmy Regan from Transport that I called about it, and he said, he's like, we can't give you $10,000 for transport people. He goes, but we can invest. And then that stuck in my head. And I went home and I was like, okay, what can I do? I've got 40 vendors and I need 10 grand. So what's 10,000 divided by 40? It was $250 a piece.
There you go. And
then 3 days later, I had $10,000 cash.
And
we built it.
And so here it is. And there are a lot of reasons to go to the expo.
Yeah.
A lot, because weddings are expensive.
Yep.
Typically, although I think, we can talk about this a little bit. I've been to, some wonderful weddings. I had one myself that, the cost of the wedding doesn't make the wedding.
Yeah.
You can have a very inexpensive wedding that's amazing.
Yep.
That's special. That's wonderful. And you can have some really expensive weddings that, maybe the open bar is good, but when it comes down to it, it doesn't have the same feel, because, at the end of the day, it's like, what is this event,
right?
As a milestone in someone's life. So I'm sure you've seen the whole range.
Yes, sir. And it goes back to how Berkshire at Wedding Expo actually became. After doing those 3 shows for years and everything, and then launching BerkshireBride.com, which now is BerkshireWeddingGuide.com, and taking all of those vendors together and creating a vision of one giant expo. And the best part of Berkshire Wedding Expo is the fact of that, it happens once a year. It's in the winter. And so if you're getting married, whether it be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, it allows you the ability to come and spend the weekend with us, to be able to come and see all the different types of vendors that are available for your wedding. It doesn't matter whether your wedding is on a backyard barbecue with a pig roast, or whether it is going to be at a very high-end establishment, say, for example, Marival, or say the Mount, or different places like that, or even right down to, like, say, for example, Cheshire Rod and Gun Club, or Berkshire Hills Country Club, or Pittsfield Country Club. What matters is the vision that is important to you. Okay, everybody is at different stages in life. It's not just weddings aren't just for people who are in their 20s. I have a wedding.
You can say that again.
I have weddings that I have a wedding that booked with me this past weekend, and you're talking as far as in like 50s and 60s.
Yeah,
it really depends.
Yeah,
and it's not my job to sit there and be the judge of who somebody's in love with or anything like that. We live in an all-inclusive world.
Yep.
We have same-sex marriage. We have your regular type of marriage. Okay, but when it comes down to it, what is important to you? That's what it's about.
Well, I can tell you, I've been to 2 weddings in the last year or so. One was my own, and I'm in my mid-40s, and my wonderful wife is about the same age. And then we went to a wedding this past year, and it was 2 people in their late 50s.
Right.
And so that's what we're looking at in regard to, it isn't the typical, the 24-year-old woman and
right.
the 30-year-old guy or whatever it may be. That happens too. So that's really, definitely something that you should consider, and it's for everyone.
I think to be in the role that I'm in right now, it's kind of like being the unofficial mayor of Weddingville. I'm the promoter of Berkshire Wedding Expo, but in the same regards, a lot of the Berkshire Wedding Expo isn't just my vision. I sit there and talk to a lot of vendors to see what's important to them. I talk to a lot of people who have attended the Berkshire Wedding Expo, last year, years in past, people who work with us that are volunteers. And honestly, I have the motto of, I really don't care if it's my idea. I care that it's right. And what we need to do is figure out what makes the event, just like my businesses, better. Okay? I'm the one who's in the spotlight because I'm the one who promotes it. It's same thing with Tux Express. Yes, I created it when I was 19. I've been in business now for 31 years. I'm very, very humble that I've been able to do what I do for a living, and to be able to make a living with doing it and support my kids, and doing all that. But then when it comes down to it, you have to listen to what's important to your client, your customer. And on my side of things, I'm working with both sides. I'm working with the people who are getting married, and I'm working with the vendors who need to get jobs. And so you've got to play both sides of the fence to make things work better, and listen to both sides, and take the best type of way that you can do. And that's why Berkshire Wedding Expo evolved from 1 day to 2 days, because it was important to have those specific days be certain things. For example, when you're coming to on Saturday, January 13th, that's a really important day. If you're getting married, you should be planning on putting both days in your calendar to come, because they're both 2 different days. The Saturday, January 13th part is at the Stationery Factory, is about coming to a show, not necessarily expo vendors. It's the expo weekend, yes, but it's the show. It's what you can come and you can have hot chocolate, coffee from Blonde and Boozy's mobile bar. You can come and watch the show.
Blonde and Boozy's mobile bar.
Yeah,
now, what is that?
They're a bartending service that's out of Vermont. That is out of an old school horse trailer. And they're going to actually come. They're not going to have their horse trailer there, but they're going to be there, and they're going to be serving hot chocolate, coffee. They're going to be doing mocktails after the actual wedding show that we have.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the fun part about doing this event and doing other events is that
by the way,
talents.
we're having fun this morning. So if you we have some shares, the reactions. If you share, react, or comment, and if you have any questions for Jared, put them in the comment section. But you will be in the running for a $100 gift certificate to Tux Express, which is a wonderful business here on North Street in downtown Pittsfield. But Jared's roots, of course, North County. So you're very well connected throughout the county. And I just noticed that the venue where I was married in, the Williams Inn, is now a participant. And I have to tell you, it was really a wonderful experience, working with the Williams Inn. But it's a great setting there. And
it's very elegant.
People think of the Williams Inn, they think of that old hotel that was there for a long time. That hotel's gone.
Yeah.
This one is at the bottom of Spring Street. So if you stay over the night before on your wedding, you can go get a coffee at Tunnel City Cafe. Yep. Go to Where'd You Get That to get some little fun gifts for the kids or something. That sort of thing. And then your wedding is there. It's a wonderful. We had such a great experience there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Williams Inn have been members before when it was the older one, Williams Inn as well. Mm-hmm. And they were investors with it. They were one of the original investors as far as when we launched the website.
Cool.
Over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's also part of it too, is working with people who are the owners or who are the directors of the businesses and finding out what makes them tick. And not just about the business, but also knowing their families and getting involved as far as with having a relationship with them. Mm-hmm. That's what this whole entire is about. It's about relationships.
And I think and that's why the expo, it's so important to have that face-to-face conversation. You sit down with an actual DJ. You want to know that person. Mm-hmm. You want to know the person who's going to be making the wedding cake, mm-hmm. or the photographer. Oh my gosh! I mean, there's always this joke. Mark Rosinski and he's a photographer, and it's like. A normal project that's done is always, the cost seems to be jacked up, for weddings. Oh, it's a wedding, so that's, photographer goes from a few $100s to like $10,000, that sort of thing. So that's something I'm sure that you hear quite a bit. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like, all right, well, if you're dealing with a customer, how am I not being, sort of upsold, or is the cost exorbitant just because there's wedding next to it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say this. There's a lot of time and effort that's put into somebody's biggest day next to having children.
Yeah.
And it's a luxury to get married. It's a choice to get married. Mm-hmm. And that's also another reason why, with coming to Berkshire Wedding Expo, it's a good thing for you to come there to actually physically meet with people and talk with people. Mm-hmm. As much as I am a big fan as far as online and looking at things online and and using our website, for example, for your wedding, and and being able to create your wedding account on BerkshireWeddingGuide.com and being able to do your guest list and doing all that stuff and like that, you can't get a feeling. Okay? You can read all the reviews you want. You can do all the things as far as online. But there's nothing like being able to sit across the table from the vendor that you're going to be working with and asking them questions and seeing how their responses are, and actually talking to other people who have used the services of that vendor to see what their thoughts are. We, being in the wedding industry, you have to also practice in a little bit of psychology as well, because everybody is different and everybody has different motives for what they want for their wedding.
Yeah.
And it's not about me. It's about you who's getting married, and sitting there and listening to them of what's important to them, and not trying to convince them anything otherwise. It's trying to, and you're paying that vendor to do their job. And when it comes down to it, it's your day. Nothing else matters on the face of this planet. when it's your day. And so so the cost of things may be a little bit more, but it's your day. And if you weren't getting married, then it wouldn't be your day. You know, and so when it comes down to it, what's important to you? You know.
And Amber Blasi says, blessings for 2024.
Hi, Amber.
Good guy right there. Will make you look like $1 million.
Thank you.
So Jared Burdick, who will make you look like $1 million. But Tux Express is your business.
Yeah.
And so tell me about that. What it is like, you know, because the wedding dress is, of course, I mean, it's the thing.
Yep.
And so sometimes the guys are maybe an afterthought. I don't know, maybe not in every wedding, but like, you know, I think generally speaking, the guys are like, okay, as long as she's happy, you know. And so I'm sure you have a lot of women also helping choose the tuxes. And so what is that like?
I deal with probably 75% of one half of the party that has been dreaming of the day, and 25% of the other half of the party that cares about getting married, because if they didn't care, then they wouldn't have asked them to marry them. And what I've found in the wedding industry is that both want to get married, but there's just two different roads that they're on in order to get to the same day. And so I sit back and listen to what's important, and whether it being a bride or a groom, because it doesn't matter as far as which one it is, because sometimes the day flip-flops as far as between both of them as far as on priorities on different things. But generally when it comes to the wedding gown, it's almost like a piece of art that you are having to use as your focal point to be able to map everything around it. And so, you know, and so that's how I look at it. You know, I look at it as, you know, not just the wedding gown or what we're trying to focus on, but also the color themes and what's important to the wedding.
What's popular these days?
From what I've been told, peach and greens are looking popular for 2024.
Okay.
We shall see what happens.
Peach and green. So that's coming from the industry, or that's coming from
Pantone as a peach color, from what I've been told.
Okay.
Yes.
Like for the whole suit, not like
no. For like the accessories, for like the wedding dresses,
not like the cummerbund.
Let's not go down a cummerbund.
You're like, cool. You just didn't say cummerbund, did you?
That was back when we went to high school, man. 1991. Yeah. Cummerbunds have made a little bit of comeback, but just black.
Yeah.
You know, it's more along the lines of like bow ties and matching suspenders. I see a lot of the last 10 years. It's been a lot of just suits. You know, it's just like anything else in life. I think once you live through it, I wish I could go back when I was 19 years old and go, Jared, you really don't want to name this Tux Express. You want to name it Burdick Clothing, because at some point in time, you may not even be doing tuxedos. You may be doing suits. And that's what kind of happened over the last 10, 12 years, where suits became way more popular than tuxedos were. And we went into an all suit, basically, industry for weddings. I would say up until this past year, probably at least, 8 out of every 10 weddings were in a suit. So I stocked light gray, dark gray, black, French blue, navy blue, all in suits, matching vests, you name it, 3-piece suits. But like anything else in life, you got to learn to evolve. Yeah. You know, and being in business, it's not my job to tell you what to wear. It's my job to listen to what you want to wear. Yeah. And evolve with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know one guy who likes blue, red, and white. Jim Willis,
Jimmy
said, "Go Bills!
Go Bills, Jim!" Yep.
So Jim's in the running for a $100 gift certificate to Burdick Clothing,
right.
Otherwise known as Tux Express.
I'm very, very blessed that I listened to my mentors, Paul and Joyce Pannone, 20 something years ago now. And when I started with, I got really lucky with being basically adopted by the Pannone family out of Long Island, and they pretty much ran our industry for a long time.
It's a tight-knit industry.
Oh man!
I mean, it's a big industry.
It's all who you know, and it really is about relationships, big time. And Paul had said it to me when I had started with them when I was in business for 8 years. At that time, and it was right after 9/11, and he said to me, he's like, "You gotta understand something. In this type of industry, patience goes a very long way." Mm-hmm. You can be aggressive, you can try and do all the business in the whole entire world, but in this industry specifically, it's going to take you 20 to 25 years to get to the point where you have a tree that you planted from a seed, to watch it grow, to watch it nurture, and get to the point where it's a sequoia tree with thousands of branches. And that's something that I witnessed, especially after COVID had happened, where our wedding industry was decimated. We were shut down. I came in on by appointment, and I was doing more black suits for funerals than anything through 2020 and 2021. But when it came down to it, and events started to open, and kids started going to dances, and weddings started happening again, I was reminded of why I didn't quit. And why I didn't cash it in, and why I didn't go do something else with my life. And it was exactly what Paul and Joyce Pannone told me. Wait, patience, take care of people. The weddings that you did when you were first in business have children. They grow up. You do their special events. Then they have friends. You do their special events. Then they grow up even more. They get married. Then you're doing all of their weddings. Now they're having kids. I've been in business now, as of February 13th, 31 years, John. 31 years, and I'm 50 years old.
That's amazing.
It is. Now I'm at the point now where things are fun.
Yeah.
I'm having a blast with it, because I have a wedding, perfect example, all right? And when it comes to Berkshire Wedding Expo, I'm reminded on the relationships that I have. But I have a wedding, okay, from the Goyette family. I did the parents' wedding out of my car at their house from a catalog. They had 2 daughters. Now Ashton is getting married. Do you know how cool that is? To be able to have the fact of, I did your parents' wedding, and I'm not 70-something years old, and I've been in this business for so long. It's so cool.
You started when you were 12,
right? I'm very humbled by the fact of that. People trust me, they trust my company, and that I'll get messages sometimes at 1 o'clock in the morning from clients. Even for I deal with some of their bad days. I deal with some of their good days. I've had people that have messaged me at 1 o'clock in the morning on my cell phone saying, "My dad passed. I need help. I can you help me?" And it's like, absolutely. I'm humbled. I'm honored to be able to be that person that you count on to be able to do that. But it's the same thing with going back to the Berkshire Wedding Expo. I enjoy what I do. I don't feel like I go to work every day. And like I had people over the past couple weeks that have said to me, you must be super stressed out. There's so many details. There's so many things going on. It can get stressful. But you know what? What's the sense of being stressed out? Just enjoy the journey. Enjoy it. Ask for help. I'm very, very, very lucky that I have so many people that still believe in my dream of doing this, that help support what I want to do. They help support my family, and volunteer with doing the weekends and stuff for Berkshire Wedding Expo. I'm very, very lucky to have those people in my life. So.
And it is the 13th and the 14th.
Yes.
And it is, because I think a lot of people in their minds may feel, it must be over at the Crown Plaza, and it's not the Crown Plaza anymore. But but this is where people's minds are. Because I remember years back, and
I did it for 18 years there.
So it is at the Stationery Factory in Dalton, which is an amazing venue and a great wedding venue in itself,
Yeah.
actually.
Yep. Yep.
And there have been a lot of wonderful events and weddings there. It has emerged as one of those go-to places in the Berkshires. So this is the Stationery Factory in Dalton, and the 2 days begins the 13th. And so
let's talk about that.
Let's do that.
So the reason why it's 2 days is because in years past we've had it as 1 day, and towards the end of the expo around noon, 12:30, we generally migrate everybody that is attending into the wedding show area, so they can watch a fashion show with Deidre's special day, Tux Express, maybe go through some workshops, do some question and answers about getting married, talking about things, do some giveaways, and have usually a brunch or a luncheon. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and we have some good problems with running out of room. Okay, running out of room meaning that I don't really like to stack vendors on top of vendors. We average on the expo day between 750 to 1,000 people, and no one wants to be bumped into each other. You want to be able to take your time. You don't want to feel like you're rushed with things. And so after living through the past January wedding expo that we just did a year ago, and that was the return of the Berkshire Wedding Expo. We hadn't had one since 2020. And I looked around towards the end of the day to see how things were flowing, and I observed a lot. And whenever you have too many things going on, it may seem that's cool, you've got a lot of stuff going on for people, but when it comes down to it, it's someone's wedding and you want them to digest everything. So I've always wanted to do a food tasting.
Oh, cool.
I've always wanted to do that type of an event. So what I wanted to do was do our wedding fashion show the day before the actual big wedding expo. And so we created the wedding fashion show with wedding food and dessert tasting event. So everybody who's getting married can register on the BerkshireWeddingExpo.com, and they can register for the Saturday and Sunday event. But here's the thing. You want to come to Saturday, January 13th for a few reasons. One, you're going to be able to come. You're going to be able to have hot chocolate and coffee from Blonde and Woozy.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be able to have mocktails. You're going to be able to come to a relaxed atmosphere, sit down with you, your fiance, bring your friends with you. You're going to be able to see a nice fashion show with all different wedding type wares from Deidre's Special Day and Tux Express. And you're going to be able to have a chance to win $1,000 cash that you can then turn and use any way you feel fit with any of the wedding vendors on the next day. You don't have to choose who you're gonna spend it with. You have as much time as you want up until a couple weeks before your wedding to be able to tell us who you want us to pay. So, for example, this past January, Shirley Pasquarelli won it, and she chose to use the whole $1,000 with Classical Tents to pay off her tent rental.
Oh, cool.
That's a huge expense.
Yeah, it's huge.
$1,000 to be able to use any way you want is a very big deal. And the way I look at it from an investor standpoint is I'm basically taking $1,000 from our wedding vendors' booth money, and I'm reinvesting it back into the wedding expo, so that way whoever wins it will then in turn use it with our wedding expo vendors. That's a good, solid investment. We're doing that. Not only for the wedding clients that are coming to the event, but also the vendors that are doing our wedding expo. And then in turn, we're going to be giving away a $250 gift certificate to Deidre's. We're going to be doing a $250 gift certificate to Tux Express. And I've got other vendors that are now adding in ones like Hanush Jewelers that's giving a $250 gift certificate as well. And we'll have other surprise ones that'll be there. But the important thing too is that when you come to this event, everybody's entered in to win all of them. There's one separate raffle for the 1,000, which everybody's involved in. and then there's one separate raffle for all of the other ones that we'll be picking winners in. So if you get picked for the $250 one, you can still win the $1,000. And then after the show is done at noon, we're gonna let everybody up, and there's going to be 5 different caterers. They're going to be a part of it. So we have, let me make sure I get this right, okay? So we have Berkshire Catering Company, we have Berkshire Culinary Group, we have Berkshire Palette, we have KJ Nosh, and we have Bounty Fair Catering. All 5 of those catering companies are going to have their own food stations, and they're going to be able to have samplings of different foods that they're going to bring. So that way you can in turn, it's not necessarily we're feeding you lunch, but after you're done with the tasting, you shouldn't have to have lunch.
Yeah, I would say so.
and then there's dessert providers that are going to be there, like Linda's Pastries, Shire Cottage, Bailey's Bakery, and then we've also got Supreme Ice Cream that's going to be there.
Nice.
So we've got a whole different type of slew of different types of foods and desserts that are going to be a part of it, and they're going to be able to walk around, be relaxed. There's going to be background music that it's going to be played by Michael Duffy. He did a fantastic job with doing our music up on stage last year. He's coming back again.
Awesome.
So he's going to be playing music for the introductory part of coming into the show. And then after the wedding show is done, he's going to be playing background music throughout the whole tasting. People are going to be able to get drinks at the bar. They're going to be able to get mocktails from Blonde and Boozy. They're going to be able to take the food and go back and sit at their tables if they wanted to. They're going to be able to mingle. And I wanted to create more of just a relaxed event. I don't want to be rushed. I want them to be able to ask questions to the vendors and be available. And also Tux Express will have a booth that'll be there, and Deidre Special Day will be there as well. So pretty much all the participants that are a part of that day will be there.
Yeah.
Then around 3 o'clock, once the event is done, we break everything down, we set everything back up, and then it's time for the expo portion of it. So the next day is Sunday, January 14th. And again, like I had said before, you want to plan on coming on both days because you're only going to get this opportunity to do this once. There's no other wedding expo that's in the county for another year. You want to take advantage of the weekend. Plus, it's Martin Luther King weekend, so a lot of people have the day off on Monday, too.
Sure.
And so the wedding expo is just that, straight wedding expo. There's going to be probably over 60 vendors right now. We're nearing the mid-60s with all kinds of different vendors that are going to be there. You know,
and we're talking about the venues, too. So the venues, photographers, I assume DJs, and so
photographers, caterers, accommodations, and I want to put a plug in too. The former Crown Plaza, that's Holiday and Berkshire's, they are on board with us as well. They're a vendor and they're also an investor in Berkshire Wedding Guide too. We started with promoting this wedding expo not just in Berkshire County, but for the last 3 weeks I've been promoting outside of Berkshire County. We've been in Springfield Market, Boston Market, all of Western Mass, in all of New York, so Tri-State, Hudson Valley, New York City.
How are you doing that?
Through social media, through Google advertising, in New Jersey, Connecticut, Vermont, because we also are a destination area. Yeah. And so I wanted to attract other people who are looking at the Berkshires to come here and get married, to come up for the weekend. Right. So if they are coming up for the weekend, they can actually call the Holiday Inn Berkshires and get a room rate of $99 a night to stay there. If they keep their receipt off of doing that and they attend the Berkshire Wedding Expo, because they're coming in from out of town and they come to the Berkshire Wedding Expo, if they book one vendor off of our wedding expo, then we reimburse them for their stay at the hotel.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
So it's again with reinvesting back into our vendors and our wedding industry.
Yeah, I mean, and you think about it, people have to choose a place to get married. This is wedding tourism, and I think that it would behoove of the Berkshire greater economic development community to invest in something like the Wedding Expo, because it's actually, every human being that you can bring to the Berkshires who wasn't going to come otherwise, and you've given them a reason to do so, then therefore, you've infused, tens, probably $100,000 per wedding, at least.
Think about the economic impact.
That's probably a small number per wedding.
Just the town of Dalton alone.
Yeah,
with the amount of people there. Right down to even small things like somebody filling up for gas. Mm-hmm. Somebody going to, say, for example, Hot Harry's or the Dalton restaurant for food afterwards, or staying around in town, going to Kelly's Package, to get certain things as far as for the rest of the day or anything. Yeah, all of those businesses are affected.
Yeah,
by all of that.
And if you can grow the wedding industry by something, I don't know, just throw a number out there, 5% a year or something, that is millions of dollars.
Right.
That are being spent, not just on the hotel rooms, like you said, all the other things, all the others, so they got to go. Someone's got to go. They got to go to breakfast. The morning of the wedding, they have to go to lunch, and all these different things. And whoops, someone forgot their suit. They got to go to Tux Express, and
that happens,
and do that,
yes,
as well, and on and on and on and on for the local economy. So anytime you can do, and we talk about this in other industries too, like for example with our friends at Berkshire Running Center, if you can bring in a race that brings in 5,000 people, and they're coming from all over the region, that is an economic development type spur. So it is, wedding tourism in the Berkshires is a big deal, and there's no other event and operation, I guess is a way to describe it, that better markets this than the Berkshire Wedding Expo, the website, and everything that you've created.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's pretty cool to see the evolution of everything that has happened. We're going into what should have been the 24th year of the Berkshire Wedding Expo, with 3 years hiatus of it, but still survived. And coming back from all that and rejuvenating and and looking at how life is. I think the biggest thing that I've seen happen now is the way of life. I think that people who are getting married, it's in all different facets. I talked to Megan at the Williams Inn, for example. They have midweek weddings.
Yeah.
Like on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe a smaller, more private wedding. It's still a wedding, though. It's still
Absolutely.
People who are coming in. It's still people staying there. It's still people that are spending money around in the area. Like, for example, Jiminy Peak, for example. You have a whole city of things that are going on just in that one place.
Yeah.
For people to be able to go to and everything. So if you look at it from, okay, well, what's the actual trickle-down effect from all of that? I think that it makes a huge difference. It makes an enormous difference. It's not just about having a wedding that has 250 people at it. That's not how it is anymore. You've got smaller, more intimate weddings, and you've got weddings that are 120, 150 people.
Yeah.
Like, for example, going up to Cheshire Rod and Gun Club. All right, you're going up into the woods, and you're going up there and sharing the whole entire day because it's beautiful and everything. But what's the economic impact of in Cheshire? How many people went and got gas at the Shell station in Cheshire?
Yeah.
How many people went to the Oasis Market for wine, for beer, for whatever, and all those things? All those things make a huge impact on our economy. And I think that's where a lot of people really don't see the bigger picture.
I think it's really the midweek wedding is actually. I've only been married on a Sunday, and when you think about Sunday, oh my God, Monday is the next day. But and there are plenty of Sunday weddings, by the way, and they can go late, and they will. And weddings generally, you get that save the date, and you're going to get that save the date at least probably a year before the wedding, and before you get the reception, or before you get the official invitation, et cetera, et cetera. So, the whole idea of a wedding is that it's on people's calendars so they can kind of plan for it. So, I don't know what the protocol is or what's appropriate, but, if you had a Wednesday wedding and everyone knows well enough in advance, it can really work. You know, because now that's you know, people have taken that time off.
And it can really work for your budget too.
And it can work for your budget.
And that's another thing with the wedding industry too, is that you'll find that there tends to be a decreased rate of how much you end up spending on your wedding, when you're having it not on a Saturday.
Absolutely. Well, because I mean, you're talking about supply and demand. You know, you'll have 52 weekends in a year, and you could probably chop off a few of those weekends. Although winter weddings are also very popular. You know, the Williams Inn has a great winter wedding package, so you know, and that's another way perhaps to save some dollars as well. So you can imagine a midweek winter wedding is probably your best you're going to get a great deal out of it. You know, but if there's so much demand for all those other, you know, it behooves the venues and everyone to be available because you assume. Now I'm going to assume. I mean, many of the weekends already for this year are probably booked. Maybe we hope
you've got about in our industry here, we pretty much run with about a 32-week season from Easter until November. A lot of the times people are booked up in those Saturdays, so they're looking to fill it up on Fridays or Sundays or midweek. So I think that if you're getting married and you have an open mind, there are all kinds of different ways for you to be able to save money and have the type of wedding that you want to have on a budget. Just being patient and talking with other places. I think that also it's important for people to do their homework and take time to go and look at different places. You know, we've got some really awesome places to have weddings with here. You know, whether you're having as far as on a certain budget or it's completely upscale and you're going to go to nines with everything. And I also think that when you're talking about as far as your wedding budget, you know, at least 40% of your wedding budget is food. So, you know, I can't stress this enough. You know, that's also another reason why to come on Saturday, January 13th. You get to sample different foods from 5 different caterers on one day.
Yeah.
You know,
now, who are the caterers?
We have Berkshire Culinary Group, Berkshire Catering Company, Berkshire Palette, Bounty Fair Catering, and KJ Nosh Catering.
Okay.
And so, and then we have our dessert providers, which are Linda's Pastries, Bailey's Bakery, Shire Cottage, and then Supreme Ice Cream.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got all kinds of cool things that you can be able to sample and do different things like that. You know, and when it comes down to it, who doesn't like to taste different types of foods? Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of fun.
It's a good thing. But I'm you know, my mind is just like popping about, you know, just marketing this Berkshire, you know, your Berkshire wedding, you know, just going out to this, you know, because it is a thing.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you get married in Berkshire County, it's still going to be less expensive than getting married in the greater New York City area, you know,
or Boston,
or Boston,
Springfield.
You know, you know, good luck in Westchester County, you know, getting married and having a venue that's going to be, you know, and so it gives you a real, relatively speaking, a great bang for your buck for those, you know, and that's, you know, it's the whole economic factor. People do come west because it's more cost effective. People are going north and moving out of the greater Boston area because it's less expensive, but it's still attractive. So you can extrapolate that to the wedding industry very easily.
You've also got places like Berkshire Lake Camp, for example. They've been a vendor of ours now for a couple of years. And even venues like Goldenrod that's in Worthington. You know, places like that where you can go and you can have a weekend of there. You know, I had friends that went to Berkshire Lake Camp for their wedding, and they were able to be there for the whole entire weekend. They had the property, they were able to stay there in the cabins. They've got the water that's right there. You know, I'm a big water person. I like to have that in the background. It's soothing. I'm a very holistic person, you know, when it comes to things. So I personally like being outdoors. And I think that having weddings outdoors, also, and having it on a property where you can actually create different things with that is important. You have places like, for example, Cheshire Rod and Gun Club, Jiminy Peak, just to top off my head, Country Club of Pittsfield, Berkshire Hills Country Club, that have different places for you to have ceremonies at, and you're able to create your own memories and stuff like that. I think that it's very important for people to do the research and to see all of the different venues before they go and select a venue, and being able to talk with the people who run those venues and become educated. And I think also, coming to Berkshire Wedding Expo it's like your jump off. It's your first day. It's the big celebration to kick off wedding planning season for the Berkshires. It's winter. We still have a few more months of cold weather that are going to be here. You can easily go and take some time every single week and visit some of the different vendors and do different things. I know that with Berkshire Wedding Guide, we're going to be kicking off different promotions, like we have for things for people to get interested in and do. Like, we've got Carly Rush, who's a wedding photographer and does boudoir photography. Wicked talented. She's amazing.
That's quite the wedding gift.
And she's well, and the thing is that it's important to listen to people of what their priorities are and what they want. And she offers a whole different, unique type of business, and she does very well within her industry. And so we're going to be doing a promotion in March for her company on Berkshire Wedding Guide.
And another cool thing at weddings are those photo booths.
Yeah, it generates a lot of cool memories for you. And a lot of those are all digitized, so that way you can actually get all of the photos that came through the wedding photo booth, and you can have them for memories from your wedding. I think that's a really neat idea.
Yeah. So I think maybe you have a vendor who has one of those.
We're looking at
because I that was one of the things that I wasn't so sure about, and it turned out to be one of the best parts of our wedding. So so it was definitely worth it. But yeah, photography is a big deal. Photography is a big deal.
You're capturing your day.
Yep.
And that's when it comes down to it, what are you going to be left with? And that is memories. And I'm a big picture and video person. I share a lot on my Facebook, especially my kids and I, and different things as far as with my family. And it's important. You at some point in time in your life, when you're sitting back and you're looking at your life, it unfolds through pictures and it unfolds through videos. It's a nice reminder of the things that you've experienced.
Yeah. That's something. And so you got to get it right.
Yes. And you start with coming to Berkshire Wedding Expo.
You start with that, and it really is, because you really don't know. And even if there's nothing like face to face. You get a feel. You get and you get the energy, and if that person is going to get you, and if that photographer is going to be able to really, you're able to work with them.
Yes.
And be able to describe, okay, these are kinds of the shots that I would like to have, and you'll know immediately, in a face-to-face conversation, whether or not that person, is appropriate. And so I think it's totally worth it. And plus you get all these opportunities to get, some financial incentive by going, because weddings, of course, are expensive. So these raffles and things like that are that's amazing.
Yep,
that's amazing. Yep. So give us the rundown again. It is Saturday.
Yep. So you want to go to the BerkshireWeddingExpo.com. So you can register for your wedding account, and then once you've verified your email address with our website, then you'll be able to set up your wedding account and then register for Saturday, January 13th, which is the wedding fashion show and wedding food and dessert tasting. It's from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. You can buy tickets online for the event. You're allowed to bring guests with you. You can bring your whole crew if you want to. And it's going to be a very relaxed event, where we're going to be giving away $1,000 of Berkshire Wedding cash or Berkshire Wedding bucks to that you can use towards any of the wedding vendors that are going to be the next day. You do not have to know who you're going to spend the money on until later on when you're wedding planning, but it's more importantly to take the time to be able to dedicate to coming on Saturday, January 13th to the event, because it's only 4 hours. It's 10 until 2. And you're going to be able to taste foods from 5 different fantastic wedding vendors that are caterers, and 4 different dessert providers that are absolutely delectable. I mean, I've had desserts from all of them. I'm surprised I don't have extra pounds on me. They're fantastic. And you're going to be able to come have some pretty cool hot chocolate, coffee, some mocktails with Blonde and Boozy, and then have some background music with Michael Duffy as well, who would be a great artist for you to be able to book for your cocktail hour, for your wedding ceremony music. And then after that event is done, then you can come back on Sunday, January 14th, the day after, and meet with well over 60 different wedding vendors that are going to be there. You can take your time. You don't have to be in a rush. There'll be plenty of space. We're going to have things spaced out. That's also another reason why to have the wedding show the day before, because that space that's being used for that show area is now opened up for Sunday. So now I don't have to have tight constraints with things, and everything can be open and airy. There'll be the wall that's part of the stage in the back is going to be actually a projection system that they're throwing up on the wall of our show, and that's going to be recorded on Saturday and replayed again on Sunday too, and it'll be in like more of like a common chill area off part of the stage. And I think that's really one of the biggest things that I want to get out, is that we want to create a relaxed area, a relaxed type of wedding show, so that way you don't feel like you're elbow to elbow, and that you've got room and you can talk and you can take your time. We don't want anybody to rush, and that was another reason we're taking the wedding show part out of the expo day, and so that way people could just focus on that one thing, which is the wedding expo vendors, and you're not in a rush because you got to go to the show at 12:30. The show has already been done the day before, so you can go and enjoy yourself on Saturday the 13th for the wedding show, have all the different tastings, enjoy yourself, and then the next day come back and join us for the wedding expo part of things, and take your time, and again, being able to be in a relaxed atmosphere. There's going to be a lot of people, but we have a lot of space. So we can space things out better and have it so that way you're not, there isn't elbow to elbow, and you can be relaxed.
Going to be a good thing.
Yes.
And one, by the way, there was one wedding, one of the weddings that I went to over last year had live music, which used to be common, and then it became completely just a unicorn. But coming back, maybe is it coming back?
I think that it is in certain aspects. I think that live music is definitely come back for like ceremonies and cocktail hours. Okay, so still not for the reception. See, this was for the reception. I think that maybe 20% of the weddings are looking at live bands. And stuff.
That's more than I would even expect. As far as
it really
that
depends
goes,
on the venue, depends on the space. And certain things like that. Not everybody has a space like Stationery Factory where it's designed to actually have concerts. So you actually have this big stage and the whole entire audio. The audio part of the entire arena area is just amazing. Well,
good stuff. Well, Jared Burdick, you have created something very special, and the fact that now it's coming back bigger and better than ever post COVID. And again, I mean, it was a long ramp up back up. Again, we're in this sort of post COVID world many years now, but like this one really hit the wedding industry. So so it has been a ramp back up, and there you go.
And it's not just my vision; it's a lot of people that help out. I have a lot of support. So yes, it's me in the forefront of promoting it, but there's a lot of people that help out with doing this and making this event work. I couldn't do this by myself. There's
Yeah.
just no way.
So let's have an amazing wedding season.
Yes, sir.
In the Berkshires. Hopefully, many people will get a chance to go to weddings, and we'll have wonderful weddings, people getting married, and also people coming in to the Berkshires, more than ever. And if we, can really market that as far as your Berkshire wedding, like that's really, make this the place to be married.
Yes, sir.
No matter where you're from. So there you go, Jared Burdick. A great pleasure. And we have a lot of people who have commented and shared, and so they'll be in the running for a $100 gift certificate to Tux Express, i.e. The Burdick Clothing Company. I love that. I love that.
To have the foresight to actually think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, and so
Right.
Terry Kelleher said just made to the end of it. Well, Terry, you can watch the whole video once we're done here. It'll repost, and you can. So she has a wedding in the family. I know Terry, so you can head over on the 13th and bring your family members and have a good time at the stationery factory and get all that. And Maya Galden, also our dear friend, she commented as well. So we love you, everybody, and it is the 13th. And go to the website to register. And it's the BerkshireWeddingExpo.com, and we've posted that also in the comments. And we'll do some videos in post editing, and we'll put some more out to promote it as well, because we want a really great turnout here for this event. So
And thank you very much for the support.
Yeah, awesome, Jared. You're the man. We love you, and wish you the best.
Thank you.
All right.